question is the candle going to burn the plant? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Melanie and I'm super jazzed to be here as always. Today we're going to be talking about how to work with the Pisces archetype during a full moon. As always with my full moon videos, we do not cover the transiting planets. I actually missed releasing this video around the Pisces full moon this year. I did want to release it regardless because I want to have these correspondences, these associations, tools, and ritual ideas available for you here on the channel so that you can reference back to this video for any Pisces full moon. We are having the prettiest rainstorm right now. We're going to start by discussing the Pisces archetype in general, then we will talk about the full moon archetype and the different aspects of its energy you could build a ritual or a spell, ceremony, meditation, bath around. Then we'll get into some self-reflection, and then we will talk about the associations, correspondences, and finally I'll give you some ritual ideas, recommendations, and suggestions. Let's get right into the Pisces archetype. Pisces is a water sign. Waters rule over the emotional realm, your intuition, and your feeling body, making Pisces a very emotionally driven individual or archetype to work with. Its modern day planetary ruler would be Neptune, and the traditional planetary ruler for Pisces is Jupiter. Neptune is all about dreams, imagination, illusion, as well as all things spiritual, otherworldly, like the different realms and dimensions, things that are here but we might not see. Pisces is at home in the 12th house. The 12th house rules over areas of the sky like endings, closures, all spirituality, other realms, the afterlife. This includes things like your karmic cycle, how you're going to be reincarnated in some religions or spiritualities, beliefs. This is kind of the gateway to the next level or the next dimension. Anything, like I mentioned earlier, anything that is here and is part of our lives, but not necessarily easy to see. It's very subconscious, intuitive, that kind of mystical, dark, mysterious sense. Not dark, negative dark, but dark as in the mysterious, unknown future. Very psychic, very in tune with other realms, other beings potentially, things that are beyond our everyday understanding. Pisces' modality is mutable. This makes it very good at communicating, adapting. It's definitely a little bit more restless when it comes to movement. It's not super eager, it's not super resistant. It's more flexible and adaptable and changeable to certain situations, which makes it a great mediator or a great communicator. It can really kind of bridge the gaps between the extremes. It's really good and comfortable at operating in that uneasy, unknowable middle ground where uncertainty is present. Pisces glyph is the two half crescents connected by a straight line. Depending on what articles you read, the straight line in between the two crescents that represent the fish moving in opposite directions can mean a few things. One of the suggested meanings would be that Pisces is trying really hard to hold it all together, but the fish are going in opposite directions, and it talks about the struggle Pisces might have with keeping a foot in both worlds, in the afterlife, in the beyond, as well as here in our everyday 3D Earth reality. Or the line can symbolize connecting the beginning and the end of the character arc that is the zodiac wheel. Because Pisces is the 12th zodiac sign at home in the 12th house, it's the end of the zodiac cycle, Aries being the first. So the line is said to represent the start and the finish of that character arc. We've talked about the planetary ruler, the element, the modality, the glyph. I do want to mention that Pisces is generally viewed as a more feminine sign, and its polarity, so the sign opposite of it on the zodiac wheel would be Virgo, which is typically more masculine. I find it always very helpful to look at the polarity, the sign on the opposite side of the wheel from the sign that I'm working with, because if I have a hard time comprehending an archetype like Pisces, for example, because it is very mysterious, it's very hard to pin down. It's a lot easier to establish what Pisces isn't in some situations than it is to nail down what the Pisces archetype is. So if you look at the Virgo archetype and you look at how structured it can be, how linear in its thought processes, the next step, slow and steady, it's a mutable earth sign, so it is very predictable in a sense, and it has a calm, assured step forward. It's got a process that it's planning on following. Pisces is a lot more sporadic. It has a lot more of that creative, intuitive, mystical chaos energy, and chaos not in a negative sense, but in an unpredictable sense. It's very free-flowing. It's very water, emotional, intuition. There's a lot of different ways to work with the full moon, and you can do any kind of magical ritual or spell under the full moon, and it would be essentially supercharged. You have the night sky, and this luminous ball of glowing light is now illuminating what was once dark. So you have that illumination, light source energy, that amplification and intensity. Emotions on any full moon are already heightened and will be extra heightened in the emotional watery realm of Pisces. So this full moon, there's going to be a lot of feelings around, not to mention the strong correlation between the water element and the moon in general. So let's talk about the tides, for example, and how the push and pull of the moon dictates the flow of water on our planet. So this is a very strong connection. Any full moon in a water sign, let alone the mutable, passive, very moldable, shapeable, and shifting element of Pisces, the water sign. So that luminosity of the moon can be lent to things like protection magic, lighting up the dark so you can see your enemies, working with your subconscious, that illuminating the shadows when you're doing shadow work. Those types of practices lend themselves great to a full moon ritual. I always like to point out that full moons historically have been used as just celebratory times. You can always have a great party on a full moon, so if you're wanting to get together with a few friends, go dancing, be out in the moonlight and just enjoy having that kind of primal intensity, emotional driven life for a night, then by all means, that's a great way to utilize a full moon. Things like divination and communicating with the other side or other realms, other dimensions is said to be a lot easier during the full moon, especially a full moon in Pisces. We've got the 12th house, the emotional, intuitive elements of water, the communication ability of mutable signs. The whole Pisces full moon archetype is perfect for divination, and we'll touch on this a lot later. We've talked about the Pisces archetype and gone over a few different ways you could choose to work with the full moon archetype. You've got things like protection, shadow work, celebration, if you want to just give thanks for the hard work. It is that culminating energy of the effort and intentions put in. You are reaping what you've sown now. So it is the heightened party moment. It is, yeah, good for protection, illuminating in the night, all of that kind of intuitive, clairvoyant, psychic communication with otherworldly divination events that you might be into. Perfect. Now that we've covered all that, I'm going to give you a few moments here, put on some nice relaxing music and some pretty photos so that you can take a few deep breaths and tap into what the Pisces archetype might mean for yourself. I've said this in probably every full moon video I have made, but it's really important to give yourself the space to realize what you associate with an archetype before you go looking for other people to give you correspondences and associations to work with. Because the stories that you have for yourself, the things that make you personally think of the Pisces archetype and the dynamics of the full moon, those are going to be your strongest tools. Those are the things that life, the universe, and your intuition have naturally brought together. Those are your puzzle pieces. And if you can take the time to figure out what those are, I highly recommend using any colors that come to mind, using any animal symbolism, or if you have a specific rock from a specific trip that really ties in this Piscean archetype and this energy for you, take notes of that in this time I'm giving you so that you can really use the most powerful things for you, which is your own experience, your own memory, and your own feelings. Once you've taken a few notes, I'll meet you back here and we'll talk more about the tarot and the chakras and all of the associations and correspondences. we're going to jump right in to some correspondences and associations. My lighting is all over the place for this video. I'm sorry, we've got the most intense, awesome rainstorm happening right now. It goes to like total darkness and then full-on sun. You're gonna have to bear with it. I hope that you can still see me. The tarot card associated with Pisces is the moon, which is incredibly perfect for a full moon ritual. The moon in the tarot deck talks about your subconscious, instinct and intuition, seeing in the night what you did not see before, so disillusionment. It allows you to see who you can trust. It speaks about patterns of like subconscious patterns that might be limiting you, or things you were simply not aware of before that have been brought into the light now during the moon. It also speaks a little bit about that communication with other realms, being very good at divination and being in tune to messages from the universe or guides or your higher self, however you interpret that. When you're planning a ritual or doing a spell, just having the tarot card present of the moon can do a lot to call in the Pisces archetype. All of the symbolism and the imagery, even the colors that the tarot use, depending on the deck you have, is very aligned with the Pisces archetype and is a great starting point when you're looking at the astrological archetypes. Working with the tarot specifically is a great way to get some really good correspondences and have another layer of color, I suppose, applied to the depth of the archetype. It adds a lot of interesting insights. The body parts that are associated with Pisces would be the feet, your toes, your lymphatic system, as well as body fat. I think that this tends to tie in with like emotional weight that you're carrying around. I also brought it up earlier with the imagery of Pisces being two fish going in different directions, having a foot in two different worlds. You have one foot is in the other realms, and the other one is planted here in the 3D reality, and it can be quite conflicting for the Pisces archetype to figure out where they are and keep their head on their shoulders, basically. You don't have 2 feet in the same canoe. You're kind of spread apart when you're working with the Pisces archetype. And it's funny to me that the body part that Pisces is associated with is your feet. Chakras. So the chakra that Pisces is associated with is your third eye, which makes a lot of sense when you think about seeing into other truths, being at home in the 12th house. It's connected to past lives, future lives, the beyond, the unknown, the intuitive world of emotions and feelings. There's a lot of really incredible meditations for your third eye chakra, and a lot of documentaries actually talking about things like DMT, plant medicines, all tie into that imagery we see when we are on a psychedelic trip. And there's a lot of resources out there right now to learn more about your third eye chakra, and it would be a really interesting rabbit hole to go down during your full moon research and prep to be working with the Pisces archetype. Gods associated with Pisces would be Neptune, so the planet Neptune, or Poseidon, same thing, different Greek thing, as well as Aphrodite and Eros. Plants and herbs that are associated with Pisces would be water lilies, lavender, dandelion, rose, burdock root, morning glory, milky thistle, milky oat. We'll include trees as well. There is the white and blue spruce that are associated with Pisces. Same with the fan palm. The animals associated with Pisces would be sea creatures in general, specifically fish, but all sea creatures, as well as water birds. Things like the clownfish or the angelfish have been used in a lot of symbolism when working with Pisces, or koi fish as well. Now, crystals and precious metals would be platinum, white gold, moonstone, pearls, coral, yellow calcite. Any kind of shell that you might have is a great way to call in the Pisces archetype. Colors, you are looking for like that incandescent array of colors. So you've got that baby pink, sky blue, that really soft, like eggshell yellow, any kind of incandescent, like the colors you would find on a bubble. Ocean, sea foam, green, those kind of pastel, magical, whimsical, soft tones. Pisces lucky numbers would be 7 and 3. And like we talked about at the beginning of the video, Neptune is the planetary ruler of Pisces. It is at home in the 12th house. Pisces modality is mutable. Its element is water. The polarity to Pisces would be Virgo, so its opposite sign, and its general energy would be feminine. Those are the associations and correspondences I have to share with you today. When it comes to actually planning your full moon ritual, like I mentioned earlier and have emphasized throughout this video several times, it's very important to figure out what aspects of these archetypes you're wanting to call upon. Are you wanting specific parts of Pisces, like the mutable water, to help you in communicating with your friends and explaining hard topics that you have had issues expressing your feelings around before? Or are you wanting to tap into the communication aspect of Pisces and really get in touch with your spirit guides or your higher self and use the illuminating light of the full moon to tap into that intuition and help unearth things of your subconscious that you have yet to discover? These kinds of questions can really help you get clear on the intention of your ritual before you start to build a ritual with all of these tools and you're left at the end without a clear focus of your intent. Shadow work. Underlying patterns on your subconscious that might be holding you back. Are you using this full moon to identify some shadows that need new light shed on them and to bring them out into the open, look at them in a new way, and get to the root of the issue, the underlying pattern in your subconscious that might be holding you back? Another great way I could see this full moon being utilized would be divination. That could be things like tarot cards, a crystal ball, reading tea leaves, doing the guided writing practices where you get into a trance-like state and just allow your subconscious to write through you. These are all great ways to get in touch with your subconscious. Allowing yourself to sit in your feelings, maybe not expressing them to people in your life, maybe don't take any actionable steps, but the intensity of the full moon and the water elements of Pisces can really allow you the space and room and grace to just sit in your feelings and feel them, especially for people who might struggle with this normally. This heightened energy can really allow room for your emotional body to be a priority. A bath. This is like the perfect time to really charge up some moon water, have a bath, infuse the water element with the full-on archetype of Pisces, the full moon energy, and relax into a bath, cleanse yourself, get in tune with your emotional body, your physical body, and just take care of yourself. As always, I hope you found these correspondences and associations helpful. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about a Pisces full moon and working with the Pisces archetype. Is it something that comes really easily to you? Do you have a lot of Pisces placements? Or are you a little bit more like me where you struggle with embodying the free-flowing aspects of the mutable water sign Pisces? I will hopefully for the rest of 2021 not miss any more full moon videos. They will all be out on time and at your disposal. I again apologize for that. Life happened. Live long and prosper. I will see you all back here very shortly for another video. If you enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing to the channel. See ya!